3, 2, 1, and okay. Well, if the thing isn't flat out lying to me, we're live right now. Hey guys, what's up? JayzTwoCents here, and you know my co-host, Mr. Barnacles, aka Jerry. The other, maybe I did that backwards. And my other guest needs absolutely no introduction, but on the off chance you don't recognize this guy's face, whether it be on TV or maybe Kotaku, this is Mr. Boogie2988. Go ahead and say hello to my fans.
Are you talking to me? Who the fuck are you talking about?
Absolutely.
Hey guys, it's me, Francis. I'm here to talk about Titanfall and stuff, because it's a good game.
All right, thanks for joining us, Boogie. As always, it's been a pleasure. No, I'm kidding. All right, guys, let's go ahead and roll. Let's go ahead and roll that intro.
Whoa. Whoa. Hello.
Okay.
Sorry.
Intro.
I the live stream. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, you guys know that YouTube is about 6 minutes delayed. Hey, but anyway, we're up and we're doing this now. Now, normally we talk about a lot of tech stuff. Graphics cards, computers, we kind of rant on some things. But today we are going to do a very game-centric video because it's kind of an interesting time for games. We're heading into the spring, which tends to be a pretty good release cycle for games. And something that really caught me off guard this week, and I'm really interested in getting Boogie's take on this, and Jerry as a developer for a large company, Microsoft. How do you go from having one of the best games of 2013 and then just shutting your doors? And of course, we're talking about Irrational Games, the developer for our camera shutting off, which is happening all night long.
And now I'm grayed out. Oh,
yeah.
This is a new Skype feature. It's a Skype feature, guys. Just simmer down.
We call it a bandwidth saver. But anyway, we're talking about Irrational Games, the people who made that one game. Oh my god, how am I drawing a blank right now? Boogie, help me out here.
Bioshock Infinite.
Bioshock Infinite, the whole Bioshock series.
Hey, I played that once.
I have a theory as to why Irrational Games closed its doors. Now, I've been reading a lot about it on NeoGAF, reading a lot about it on Reddit, a lot of different theories bounding around. And I have a theory.
Let's hear it.
The game sold pretty well, right?
Phenomenal.
It had no real attachment upsell. The DLC, sure, there's a season pass. I bought the season pass, and the DLCs slowly came out. No microtransactions, no premium, no day one bullshit.
Everything everyone wanted.
Yeah, it was the perfect game in that it was complete in the box. They shipped it to you. You never had to spend a dime. You never had to do anything. The problem is not a lot of money in that anymore. And that's really frustrating.
You're right. It's not. And also, too, I think a lot of people thought, okay, Bioshock Infinite, they didn't really think Irrational Games. Like, a lot of people I don't even think could have named who the actual developing firm was.
Yep.
It just was interesting because the way the story goes is these game developers showed up to work one day and found out they didn't have a job.
Yep.
That's the thing. And that's not out of place for a lot of companies. I mean, I know Microsoft has done it, Google's done it, Apple's done it. You show up one day and it's like, oh, hey, your region, your sector, you're gone. Thanks for coming. Here's a severance. Off you go.
Yep.
But some
companies don't even offer a severance, for the record. That has definitely happened.
True. Very true. But what I think is kind of unique about this story is, if you guys don't know, Irrational Games is kind of based out of the Boston area, as are a lot of game developers, because Boston's a very programming and IT heavy part of the nation. There's a company out there, and guys, the cameras for some reason just kind of keep coming and going. We're going to keep turning them on as this happens.
But they got sound.
There's a lot of developers out there who are like taking this as an opportunity to say, well, I've always wanted to be an indie developer. Now is the better time than ever to just kind of get my shit together. An indie developer out there in that area called Firehose Games is offering these displaced developers basically development space for free. We're talking desks, chairs, an internet connection, an office to go to call work, all the common stuff you need, printers, routers, just everything you need to be connected to code their indie games, and not Firehose indie games. You can come in and work on any project you want, your own, somebody else's that's paying you, and they want absolutely nothing in return. And I think that is fucking amazing.
I have a question.
Let's hear.
How can they do if they're not making any money and they're going out of business? How can they afford to give people free space and free equipment?
No, not Firehose. I'm not talking about Fire. I'm not talking about the indie. The indie devs are getting space from Firehose, which is already a firm bringing in money through their own games they've already developed.
They've got some good games.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got mixed up. Okay, so it's the guys at Firehose are basically like bringing in indie devs that aren't even developing for them.
Right. They're just basically giving them a place to go, like a soup kitchen for laid off developers.
I also heard that Bethesda was one of the companies that was absolutely cherry picking from Infinity shutting down. Like there are apps because the world designing skills in Bioshock. They made Rapture. They made what's the one in Bioshock? They made these incredibly beautiful worlds that came to life with music, with design, with you get those guys working on your team. Like it's got to be like Christmas for Bethesda or any MMO that's hiring out there, like that's just in the building stage. Hey, Elder Scrolls Online, you could use some talent on your team. But I and then we like I love the era that we're in right now because independent games are the shit.
Right.
And I buy a lot of indie games. You see the Wii U doubling down on indie. You see PlayStation doubling down on indie. You see Steam always supporting the indie house.
Absolutely.
But can I ask a favor of you indie developers? 8-bit retro graphics. Cut it the fuck out. Like, I mean, I get it. It's easy to make 6-pixel characters and stuff. But come on. We've had enough now. No offense. But yeah, I'd love to see what some of those people that were at Infinity have the opportunity to build when they're given all that free space and all that free.
But I think time will tell too on whether or not their motives are truly genuine, on being expecting nothing in reciprocation. Because this also could be a good time for them to get their name in the paper, saying, "Hey, come on in, guys, we'll give you a home," and it kind of gives their indie group a little bit more exposure. They will for free.
It's also an opportunity to cherry pick some talent.
Absolutely. Yeah. They said that in the article, and I'll try and link the article down in the description after the video's live, guys. Once it saves, that they are taking this opportunity to also kind of talent search. So, but think about it too. You would have to think that the talent coming out of this laid off talent pool was pretty good to begin with, considering it is the Bioshock Infinite crew.
Oh yeah. And then you got LinkedIn and services like that where it's like all the recruiters can just jump in there and go, "Oh wow, they're laying off a bunch of people. Let's go see who's currently working for that company." And then they'll start extending invites like crazy.
Like the story writers alone for Bioshock Infinite just amazed me because Boogie, you and I talked about it last year. As a guy who just hadn't had the time to game anymore, that game hooked me. I live streamed it from the moment I turned it on to the moment I finished the game, and I couldn't put it down.
And that ending, though, wow.
Yeah. And the way it all tied together, it just didn't feel like there were many loose ends or anything. It really sucked you in. And as a guy who was just getting fed up with games, and then to hear this story really kind of shocked me because it just made me wonder what the hell was going on over there. But it didn't have any replay value either, though.
Nope, and that 1999 mode was kind of cool as a concept. No multiplayer, which is respectable because the combat really wouldn't have worked very well with multiplayer. It would have been attacked on a feature that nobody wanted to use. Then you got the cost of servers. No day one DLC, no real attachment fees, no microtransactions or costumes, no real monetization. That's what they call it these days. They don't even call that an add-on. That's just monetize. Do you want to monetize your game or not? The $60 you sell it for is only for you to reap the cost of development. Do you want to monetize it? Do you want to monetize it? I hate that we live in that world, and I'm so glad that they chose not to do it. They chose not to monetize it. At the same time, though, it's sucks.
It's what killed him.
Yeah,
Jerry, did you finish Bioshock Infinite? I know you were playing it, but did you finish it?
I didn't. I played it for probably about 2 or 3 hours, and then I meant to come back to it, and I didn't.
Yeah,
it's so sad.
I'm a horrible
yeah,
gamer.
no spoilers or anything, but it's a good story. If you can just set aside another, it's not a terribly long game. You probably need another 5 hours, 6 hours.
Actually, fuck it, spoilers all day. Bruce Wayne is Batman.
Oh, see, Boogie. This is why I can't have. This is why we can't have Boogie on the channel, Jerry.
Yeah. No, Bruce Wayne, no! The truth is, I've played to the point where they found the girl that's got like the wonky pinky finger that I can't stop looking at. But no, it actually got really good after that.
Elizabeth,
I just had to walk away, and I just haven't had time to go back yet.
Yeah, her name is Elizabeth. Great story. But I feel too, Boogie, that the gamer audience is fucking fickle. They'll complain about one thing one day, and then they're mad that the thing that they complained about is fixed, and then they don't like it, so then they start saying, well, we want this, which was the way it was before. Like you said, Bioshock Infinite, perfect example. No day one DLC or any of that shit, yet it didn't survive.
Yep.
But
like, you look at I get a lot of shit for liking my Xbox now. A lot of people are like, yeah, you got paid off, whatever. Yeah, I got a free Xbox. If you think I'm gonna sing and dance for a free Xbox, you are fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But that said, I do like my Xbox because I've used it. But it's a decent device. I still prefer my PlayStation, and I still prefer PC over that. But
you prefer pussy over your Xbox One? That's awesome.
Absolutely.
Finger licking good.
The real reason I've turned into an Xbox fan is because they came in like a fucking plague and fired every single motherfucker that was screwing up. That was all like, let's DLC dashboard ads the shit out.
Didn't you and I call for that like 8 months ago with the whole Adam Orth thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the fact that they've done that they've listened to what we had to say, they fixed the problem, and they fired the people that gave them the bad reputation, hit their stock. That's what a company's supposed to do. That will make me your fan. Congratulations.
Right.
You corrected the ship. You patched the Titanic. I'll buy your product. We're done. You know?
Well, that's what happens with these large companies, especially the execs. And Jerry, I know you can't really include yourself in this conversation so much, but I think people at like Apple and Google and the world leaders kind of get complacent, like, oh, here we are, we've made it. There ain't nothing that can happen to us, but you piss off your demographic. There's always someone higher than you, and on top of the CEO, there is the investors.
Yep.
And you piss them off, then nothing says you can't go clean house and wipe out an entire division of a huge company like that and start all over. They can do it. They have the capital to do it.
And I remember just 8 years ago when the people that were on the bottom of our heel that needed to get the shit fired out of them was the people developing the PlayStation 3. Their $600, $800, $600 or $800 device, I forget how much it was. Ridiculously expensive device at the time with all that technology that we didn't really need, and their arrogance about it. Well, if you don't like it, don't buy it. Well, we didn't fucking buy it. You fucked up. You know, and it's so funny we forget how history repeats itself. Sometimes it's this guy, sometimes it's that guy. It's always, but at the end of the day, brand loyalty doesn't make any sense to me. Consumer loyalty makes sense to me.
Right.
You follow the company that's making good stuff. You play the good game no matter what device it's on. Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, PC, your fucking phone. I don't care where it is. Game. I tweeted earlier today. I said, games are a work of art. Who gives a shit what museum they're hung in? Just observe it and enjoy it and love it, Like Titanfall.
No, that's it. I bought a console just for one game before. Like I went and bought the Metal Gear Solid Edition PlayStation 3 because that's the only game I cared about. And then I bought it, and then after that I started playing some of the other studio games like Uncharted. I absolutely loved the Uncharted series. Yeah. And so I played those, and I was like, that's what made me buy the console. Like even if it was just for 4 games, it was still worth it to me to get
I've always been that way because I've never been into a huge game library because I'm OCD to the point to where I can't move on to another game until I finish the game I'm on, sort of thing. So I never had time to bounce around or have a huge library. I've never owned more than 4 discs at one time for any console. And the only reason I even had Xbox to begin with was Halo when I played Halo and Forza. That was it. Yeah. I mean, that was a very expensive piece of equipment to play one $40 game.
Yeah. Well, ask me what I got for Xbox One right now. I'm like driver level 87 in Forza 5. I can't get enough of it. And I don't really play. I mean, I played a little Battlefield on it. My wife plays like Zoo Tycoon and stuff like that. But just that one game, Forza, was worth it to me to get that console because I'll seriously play that game like for hundreds of hours.
I'm the opposite of you guys, just so you know, because literally I play every game for 20 minutes and then I'm like fucking done. Like sometimes I wish I was just a game reviewer. Like I'm gonna play this for 4 hours or play this for 6 hours, done forever. I'm an exploratory gamer. Like when you break the psychology down. But I will tell you, my original PlayStation, I owned a game for it, and I was reading some gaming magazine. I think it was Electronic Gaming Monthly, EGM. Wow. Yeah. I got a subscription. It comes to the house, and they're talking about Final Fantasy VII, and it's out this month. And I'm looking at the pictures of Cloud in 3D. It's the first 3D Final Fantasy game, and I'm like, oh my fucking god! So I got in my car and I drove to EB Games, and walked into the. I'm like, one copy of Final Fantasy VII and whatever the fuck I need to play that on.
Yep.
And he puts down a copy of the game, and he puts down the thing, and he puts down a memory card, and he's like, "Can I interest you in anything else?" I'm like, "Nope, done." Well, that was it.
It's a lot like it was about 5 months after I started the YouTube channel where I purchased the 360 because I had 360 for several years and sold it and was like, fuck console gaming, I don't want to play it anymore, it doesn't interest me. But then I started missing the Forza franchise, and so I said, okay, fine, I want to play Forza again. So the wife and I, we hop in the car, we drive to Fry's, and we've got the console, we've got the extra controller, we've got the wheel, we've got, the headset, we've got a cart full of stuff, and one fucking game. And it all came out to like $700 in the end just to play this one game. And I felt really retarded doing it, but then at the end of the day I thought, I enjoyed that game, and if I'm finding pleasure out of it for a long period of time, then it's worth it.
You know what I do whenever I buy a high-end thing, like, it's $200 or $300, $400, whatever, I take the number of times that I sit down to use it. Okay, so say for example, I bought my wife a treadmill. Actually, my mother-in-law bought it. Hi, Linda. But we bought her a treadmill. It's a $600 treadmill, and I'm like, man, that's kind of a waste of money. But I divide each time you use it, you divide that number by the number of times you use it. So the first time she used it, it cost her $300 per walk.
Yeah. I actually do the same thing. Yeah.
Right, and then eventually I get to the point, I keep that running total in my head, and sometimes I'll look at something that I bought and I used 3 times, and I'm like, wow, that was fucking worthless. But when it comes to these gaming devices, I play the fuck out of, all these different games. And I even try to do even like an hourly basis on a game, like, wow, I paid like $5 an hour for this game. Well, that's cheaper than a movie. I win.
Yep.
I'm
the kind of... Go ahead, Jerry.
Oh, no, I was going to say, when I use devices, and I don't use them actually here, I'll just say the NVIDIA Shield, right? I bought that thing and I used it, I think, 3 whole times. So that was really expensive. So unlike you, if I don't use it enough times to justify the purchase, I just completely ignore that equation altogether, and I'm just like, it's awesome.
Yeah, that way you can sleep at night.
It's desk art, and I might turn it on again at some point if something cool happens, but damn it, it was worth it.
It's now a channel decoration.
I got my Vita for... I got my PlayStation Vita for my birthday, and Des bought it for me because she's like, the tie-in with PlayStation 4 is coming up. It's going to be really cool, and they got the PlayStation Plus. You get all the free, the rented free games. If you have PlayStation Plus, it's like 2 or 3 games a month, and so I built up this library of games on it. Downside is my eyesight is so bad now because I'm almost 40 years old, and my lenses can only do so much. And it's in 1080p, but on a 5-inch screen, I can't see it to play it. And so every week or so, I'll be like, I'm gonna fucking play my Vita. There's so many good games. I'm gonna play Hotline Miami. I'm gonna play fucking Spelunky. And then I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
You need to go get like a giant Fresnel lens and just duct tape it on that sumbitch.
Well, what pisses me off,
like Wally.
What I'm begging them to do, they already have remote play from the PlayStation 4 to the Vita. Why can't I go from the Vita to the PlayStation 4, have that on my big TV, sit there with my Vita like this? And they've got the PlayStation Vita in Japan, which allows you to do that, but it's a whole separate device, takes up a whole separate HDMI slot. I mean, I know the coders at Xbox One, and I know the coders at PlayStation 4 are really, really busy right now putting in features in their boxes, but listen, that is a hell of an idea. Do that.
Yeah.
Well, it seems like everybody else is doing that already. I mean, the NVIDIA Shield, right, uses the...
for PC side, yeah.
NVIDIA streaming or whatever, and that actually works pretty well. And
it's the Grid, isn't it?
What is it?
Isn't it called the Grid?
I don't think so. It's not Shadowplay. That's the recording one. What the hell is it called?
Grid, I thought Grid was their local stream-based gaming on your network, but I don't remember what it's called.
Yeah, well, they give you a way to get it on the big screen, which I think is a huge plus. Because just like you, I have good eyesight, actually. I have 20/15, which apparently the doctor said is fucking awesome. But I still can't play. What'd you say to me? What? No. But no, those little screens drive me fucking nuts, because my wife's got a little Nintendo 3DS, right? And one thing, I turned the 3D on that thing and fucking like melt your eyeballs. I don't know who thought that was a great idea. But anyways, I play it with the 3D off, and the games are phenomenal on it. Like, that's one of the few Nintendo platforms I actually really enjoy. But goddamn, I can't play that thing for more than 15 minutes without getting eye strain, because it's so fucking small, and you have to like hold it like this.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right, we're gonna move on because I know Boogie's time is limited here. We're borrowing his family time, and Boogie, I appreciate you.
But see, think about it. This is a tech show. We started talking. Now we're talking about the tech, baby. I bring it around full circle for you. You know why they call it an Xbox 360? Because you turn 360 degrees and walk away. Wait, sorry.
Why they call it Xbox One? Because it's the only one.
All right, let's talk about. All right, Jerry, your fans and my fans. And I know Boogie's fans probably are in the same boat, agree that there are plenty of times where pre-ordering is fine, and there are plenty of times when pre-ordering should just say, fuck you, earn my money.
Fuck pre-ordering. No, altogether.
So, one of the game I'm about to mention, Wolfenstein: The New Order, is kind of close to my heart, and I'm going to buy it because the very first PC game I ever played that was actually in color was Castle Wolfenstein. Wolfenstein 3D. And it was like very, bang, bang. It was very, very bad.
Dude, it was like the first COD, right?
Right.
It really was, honestly.
But the mouth moving was 2 pixels, a tan one and a black one, right?
Mein Leben. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
So, but Wolfenstein: The New Order was supposed to come out last year. In fact, I did a Tech Addiction show in 2012 talking about it coming out in 2013. Well, now it's coming out May of 2014, so they delayed it. A lot of people kind of forgot about it. Maybe they did the right thing. Maybe they did what DICE should have done with Battlefield 4. And now they're enticing people to pre-order it the same way DICE did with Battlefield 4 or Medal of Honor, because they knew no one was going to play Medal of Honor, Warfighter. Get the exclusive beta access to Battlefield 4. Well, Wolfenstein, I forgive me, I can't remember who actually makes the game anymore, but they're offering you exclusive beta access to the new Doom game if you pre-order it.
Yeah, is Apogee still around? No, I'm just kidding.
So, it's like, okay, If you want to offer me something to pre-order, offer me something relevant at least to the game we're talking about, but not day one DLC access like they did with Battlefield 4 and China Rising and all that shit. Don't slice off a chunk and make me pay for it again, and don't make it an incentive to pre-order it to get the whole game. So
for me, the pre-order, I want to make sure that I get something up front too. I don't like that pre-order shit where it's like, oh, after we get to a certain point, we're gonna like release a tech preview, and then we might release this, No, I want a beta. Like Titanfall would probably be one of the few things, I don't jump at the gun a little bit, but it'd be one of the few things I would actually pre-order, mainly because they gave us a beta right out of the gate that we got to go and play with, so it's like, I know what I'm getting
into.
And it worked! Hopefully they can't completely fuck it up. I don't think so. Don't quote me on this, because I've seen companies do it before. Hopefully they don't completely fuck it up, and like when it comes out on March 11th, you have to download 5 DLCs and 20 microtransactions to get Invincible Titans. If that happens, I will seriously just destroy everything in this room and burn my house down for insurance money.
What kind of fucking state of gaming is it that we're in right now, where we played this beta? Don't call it a beta. It's a demo. It's a fucking demo.
Yeah, it's a demo.
Okay? It's a demo.
We played this demo, which they used as an excuse to prepare their servers. I get that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But we played this demo, and it's phenomenal. And now we're all sitting there, we're afraid we're gonna get slapped in the face with some bullshit. What does that say about the state of gaming? And let me tell you something. Respawn Entertainment right now, and I'm not that powerful in the internet. I'm gonna affect 50,000 people, if that, and nobody really gives a shit. They're gonna buy your game no matter what my opinion is.
Dude, you're like fucking Kingpin. Come on.
Well, thank you. But Respawn Entertainment, you've got a fan in me right now. I fucking love your game. I fucking pre-ordered a collector's edition.
I agree.
And provided you don't fuck it up, I'm going to put that giant mech in the background of all my videos for the free advertising, and you're going to fucking have the best time. I'm going to fucking stream it 6 nights a week. I don't give a shit. I'm going to do it till I'm the best player in the world. I'm going to crush motherfuckers with my mech. Okay.
You broke the cameras.
Yeah, you did. Jesus. Guys, I'm not going to do anything that elaborate, but I will probably slightly molest the mech every once in a while in a vlog or something.
Unless you fucking monetize this motherfucker,
and
you give me a day one premium pack with 4 new maps that weren't in the beta, or you fucking make me try to buy burn cards, or you try to give me upgrades to my Titan or my gun.
That's the thing. That's the thing that scares me, Boogie, is buy extra burn card slots or burn.
That's exactly what I was talking about too.
Yeah,
I think they fucking will. I think they fucking will. I bet you they will.
Or buy exclusive paid burn cards that nobody else gets.
And 6 months down the road, 6 months down the road, you want to create an expansion pack, and that includes an extra burn card slot. It includes some upgrades to some guns. It includes 4 more maps, 1 with destructible environments. Guess what? Okay, we'll be best friends still. I'll buy that. If that shit ships on day 1, you ruin a franchise before you even start.
Well, I think of Dead Space. Not Dead. Was it Dead Space?
Yes.
Yeah, Dead Space. Where if you want to get the complete story on day 1, buy a second piece of the game.
Yeah.
and we're not talking about Battlefield.
Let's go on record right now. We are gonna fucking riot if that happens, right?
I'm gonna absolutely fucking riot. EA, please listen to me, EA. I met a wonderful young lady at the PlayStation 4 event, and she works for EA, and we had a conversation, and she was so nice to me, and she had a knowledge of who I was, and she knows that I've been one of their outspoken opponents, and she was so sweet to me. She's nice. She gave me her email, and we've contacted each other a couple times. In fact, when I made that Francis Titanfall video, I just emailed it to her like 10 minutes later. But you have an opportunity to prove that you guys have reversed direction here. Titanfall's the start. Make sure Respawn doesn't fuck it up and you don't fuck it up.
But you know what?
And God forbid you get the Battlefront game right. If you get that game right, it'll actually be Christmas to us. You'll officially warn me back over.
People gave me a lot of shit when I did my review of Battlefield 4 and how I started ripping DICE and EA at the same time, and everyone keeps saying, well, no, it's not DICE, it's EA, blah, blah, blah. I tell people, you know what? DICE owns a huge chunk of the responsibility of the way shit went down, quite honestly, because of the fact that they allowed themselves to be bullied by EA. So I have to wonder what the relationship of Respawn and EA is. I mean, can EA get away with more with DICE than they can with Respawn? Is Respawn willing to push back against EA and say, you know what, our shit's not ready?
Well, they're brand new. That's the thing. So they've got a game that's relatively ready, and they're handing it over to EA to publish.
Right.
Okay. Now, once the publishing deal gets redone in year 2, year 3, after the game has gone live, that's when EA's like, look, you made some money, and it's nice to have $1 million or $2 million or $10 million. Wouldn't it be nice to have $50 million?
Right.
Wouldn't it be nice to have $100 million?
Which is
how you do that. You monetize your game.
And that's the difference between a franchise and an IP or an intellectual property is, intellectual properties, they're not going to touch it until they know it's done and working, because it could be the death of a franchise before it starts. What we've experienced is these decade-long franchises that have fallen apart because of the publishers meddling in the franchise and no longer allowing the control to be with the developer, which it was in the beginning. Not to mention, 6 years ago, PC, there was no fucking... I mean, Steam 10 years ago, everyone was like, oh, this isn't going to work. What do you mean publish a cloud-based, server downloading?
Dude, I fucking raged when Steam came out.
So did I.
I was
we all did.
I want my fucking discs. If I send you guys money, mail me a fucking disc. I'll pay for the shipping and handling. Yep. Just give me my disc. And now today I'm like, no, don't give me the disc. Fuck the disc. I don't got a place for it. Just let me download.
But we've been assimilated over time, and now we're kind of at the mercy of it all, which really sucks.
I often think about what Larry, when he visited my house, Major Nelson, and I was like, Larry, here's the thing. I knew what you were trying to do with the disc system, and I understand where you wanted to do the family sharing and all that stuff. And I got to let you know, on some level, I was kind of with you because I love Steam. I use Steam every day. It's how I buy the majority of my games. I want a digital library. The problem is that's for PC. That's what PC's used to now. Console gamers are not used to it. Steam did that a decade ago, man.
Yeah.
We've had a decade to get used to it. If you try to make us get used to that right now, reselling your console games, trading, buying, selling is the biggest thing. But he picked up picked up a copy of a disc on my entertainment shelf, and he says, we just wanted to reinvent what this was.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I get that, and I understand that. But at the same time, the Xbox 2, I guess, I don't know. What the fuck are going to call the next one? The Xbox, we're sorry. Whenever they make the next one,
the Xbox Derp,
with Super Connect that connects directly into your brain. Hopefully, if they make an all digital version, 6, 8, 10 years down the road, when we've rebuilt the infrastructure in the United States, we've rebuilt the infrastructure worldwide, where we finally have high-speed internet, we have gigabit speeds, which we should have had by now, we don't have now, and it's an all-digital system, and they're like, look, we didn't even put a disk drive in it because this is awesome, and we've come up with a way for you to resell your games, give them away to your friend, too, like, develop all that, and then we live in a utopia. But the problem is the world still is not ready for that.
It's not because I am amongst the very small minority of people who have broadband unlimited data cap. Yep. You know, they've now created fuck, man. Titanfall is the source engine, and it's still 20 gigabyte download.
Yeah.
I don't understand it. I mean, Battlefield 4 now takes up 50 gigs on my hard drive. 50 gigs.
I downloaded Killzone Shadowfall. It took like 3 days. It was like 46 gigabytes. I was like, God damn it, my operating system isn't that big.
So the industry as a whole, not just Xbox, but PlayStation 4 and the new platforms are going. I mean, Apple kind of started this years back with being completely digital download and getting rid of the optical drive altogether. But that's the thing, is so much of the world is not capable of. I mean, to play the game, you can't even play the game unless you download the patch. And if you're data capped for that month, you're fucked.
Yep.
Yeah, the data caps, I think, are even more damaging, personally.
And it's so funny because American consumerism, American capitalism has got us moving in the backwards direction. Like, here's this really great service. Now, how do we charge more for it? How do we monetize it? Let's make more money. And I get that. I get it. You know, we all like money. I like money. You like money. We're all here today because in some way, form, or whatever, we're going to earn a few pennies. Okay, this is fun. But at the end of the day, this is our jobs. You know, we all sell our time. Some of us clock in at McDonald's. Some of us paralegal. Some of us do YouTube. That's the thing. And I know you need to make money. But holy shit, I'm paying $99 a month. And I 500 gigs. I only get 500 gigs from Cox now. 2 years ago, I got unlimited. I literally was burning through a couple thousand.
Yep.
And I don't understand why they can't provide that anymore, because it's not like water, it's not like electricity, it's pretty much on or off.
Yeah. And
it's so frustrating to know that, you know, I don't know.
And that kind of segues us into the next topic here on the list. Verizon versus Netflix. Now, now, guys, Verizon, if you're not from the United States, or you're not even from a Verizon Fios territory, Verizon's Fios is the fastest internet you can get next to Google Fiber, which is a very limited, market right now.
That's an overstatement.
Okay,
it's like
Verizon Fios is pretty much the fastest net you can get in the United States, which is still only like 100 by 100 on their max tier plan. But the problem is, what do we all do on our computers or our TVs or our phones when we're bored? We go to Netflix or we stream YouTube or something, right? We watch something media-wise. That's what we do. That's what our devices are now, media-wise. Now, Netflix, another streaming service. Hey,
stop beating around the bush, Jay. God.
Whose bush am I beating? Anyway, okay. So Verizon has said, hey, Netflix, you know what? We lose 14% of our speed during prime time because of your service, so we want to charge you for us to carry your data. Now, that's fucked up point number one.
Well, I'm no mathematician, I'm no economist, but I just want to point out that we call that double dipping.
Absolutely, because we're paying for it, and then we're paying for the data service, we're paying for Netflix, and then Verizon wants Netflix to pay just to carry the data to us that we already pay for. Yep. Now, that's problem number one. Problem number two is Netflix has said, you know what? We have equipment that will solve this problem. They have hardware cachers at the data center that will cache the data so that they're not having to stream it from the Netflix servers to the data centers to the customer. They can take the middleman out. They can take they can take the middleman out, cache serve it right at the data center to you, which takes a lot of that network infrastructure out of the mix.
And we'll send it to you. We'll pay for it. We don't even mind.
Now, Netflix has said, we will pay for the equipment, we will pay for the installation. But Verizon and Cox and Comcast and AT&T, they've all said, no, we want a monthly hosting fee.
This is why, by the way, I hate the fact that the phone that's in my pocket right now belongs to Verizon.
Mine too.
But the problem is, my choices are AT&T and Sprint, and AT&T is just as bad. They're in bed with Verizon right now. If you don't know that, and I'll just point to articles to that effect. But here's basically what it comes down to: those two groups of people, Sprint not so much, Altel not so, or not.
Greediest people on the planet.
Yeah. What they're basically trying to do, and this sounds like a Bond villain the way I'm going to describe it, because it is. They're trying to shape the world for worse. Yeah. And it's that phase that EA went through for a little while. They're like, let's try to make monetization of games the norm. And they succeeded. Now the world's worse because of it. These guys want to monetize. Now the thing is, the FCC does not control video games.
Nope.
So EA gets to do that thing, and now that's the norm.
Yeah.
The FCC does control the fucking internet, people.
They do.
And you keep fucking around.
Net neutrality.
Yeah. They're going to lay the shit down on you. All they got to do is name it a common carrier. All they need to do is name it a utility. And it is at this point. It's a utility because I work from home. You work from home. We work. We need it for our jobs. We need it to communicate. We needed to look for jobs. We needed to entertain ourselves. We needed to contact families. We needed to apply for jobs. Yeah. Kids need it to do their homework. If you don't have
it's more important than the telephone.
Yeah,
it honestly is.
Well, let me tell you what's happening now. I am not on Fios, but I'm on Time Warner, which is just as bad of a company as Verizon.
Not for long, Comcast.
Yeah, which terrifies me about my unlimited data cap. But I've been a part of Time Warner since they started as a company, like 18 years. So we'll hopefully be grandfathered. But anyway, if you guys have noticed, how many of you guys have broadband connection, but you've seen that you only get a standard connection for Netflix, where you can't get an HD stream for whatever reason? You're like, what the fuck? I have 100 megabit down, I get a standard def stream. Well,
traffic shaping.
What's happening now is the FCC and the net neutrality rules, and the FCC in the United States is a Federal Communications Commission, which controls data transfer in the United States, whether it be airwaves, TV, internet, anything, communication-wise. Well, they've basically said it's illegal for you to tell Netflix you won't carry their data, but there's nothing that says you can't throttle the shit out of them, which is exactly what's happening today.
Yep. And now I got to tell you, I'm very fortunate. I complain a lot about Cox Communications, but they are one of the good guys in the digital age. Your friend in the digital age, that's their logo. And with the exception of the data cap that they put into place to try to, and they don't hard cap, and they don't even really, they've told me personally on the phone that we will not throttle to you until you've reached close to 2 or 3 times your monthly allotment. We just want you to get a bigger plan if you're using a lot of internet. Yep. And speed wasn't enough to entice everybody, so we wanted to put the data cap. And I get that, but at the end of the day, they don't care what the fuck I'm downloading. They don't care if I'm touring. I do tour stuff sometimes.
I've never ever done it my entire life.
They don't care if I torrent. They don't care if I'm uploading video. They don't care if I'm streaming to Twitch. They don't care if the service is working, and it does go down about once a week. But at right around midnight for some reason. I guess they know that's when I work. But if it's working, they don't throttle. They're pretty cool about it. And I've had very little trouble with Netflix. In fact, so little trouble that a couple of times I realized I don't really need it in HD on my PC on a 27-inch monitor. So I'll scale it back.
Well, there's times I'm trying to watch a movie with the wife, and it will start in HD stream. A little bar shows that we have maximum connection. Halfway through the movie, it'll pop up. Your speeds have changed, and then it's just like 18 pixels for the entire 50-inch TV. And it's like,
you want to know how to fix that? Fuck. $6 a month solves that problem. Get a VPN. They can't shape a VPN. It's all encrypted traffic going through one port. They can't read the headers off the packet. They don't know what it is, where it's going, nothing.
But the point of the conversation is, why should we have to do that?
Yep.
Especially when we're already paying for the service on 2 sides.
Because telecom companies are greedy as shit. That's why. Just like Verizon and AT&T and everything and their shitty cell phone plans where it's like, for $50 a month, you get 2 gigabytes of data transfer when the fucking antenna that the phone connects to is like connected to a fucking cable modem.
Well, and this is no shocker. I mean, when we started seeing 3G connections on cell phones, what did the cell phone companies start doing? They started saying, oh, well, you have unlimited data, the old plans. You have unlimited data, but if you get to what they call it fair usage. I think they call it fair usage.
No, it's not fair usage. It's like normal usage or something like that. Like anything that falls outside of like checking email and web pages.
Yeah.
We're
not. And we're gonna throttle you down if you do that.
So, you know what all this comes down to, and look, maybe my view's a little slanted at the end of the day. When it comes to monetizing games, when it comes to throttling the amount of internet you use, when it comes to all this stuff, it's all about the almighty dollar. And the worst part about it is we're at a point in this country where economically we're lower than we've been in a long time. A lot of people are poor. I grew up poor. I'm currently not exactly poor, but it won't be long till I'm back there. Fucking money's hard to come by. And we're literally choking poor people to death. That's what we're doing. We're trying to squeeze every single dime out of these people who are working for minimum wage, which is still $7.50 out there. And I can't believe it. Why do you need to charge more? I have to have a cell phone in my pocket. I generally need a cell phone in my pocket because the internet is now an essential service. And so I have to pay $100, $125, $150 a month. Now you want to charge me per gig because I'm filling out job applications because I'm watching Netflix on my phone? Are you kidding me? You want to charge me to buy character skins that you created during the development cycle anyway, so you can get an extra $5, an extra 10. I ain't got that kind of money.
You know what's...
I don't need day one map packs. Fuck you.
But let me tell you what's fucked up, though, is the price scale of the overage charges. Because we have at my company, we have about 180 smart devices between iPads and iPhones that various employees have out in the field. One guy apparently didn't read the paperwork and didn't realize that they don't have unlimited data. They had 2 gigs per iPad. Yeah. Because they're only supposed to be for emails and stuff. And he was just watching Netflix after Netflix after Netflix. And we got the bill, $1,900 for 1 month on his one line because of a 25 cent per megabyte overcharge. 25 cents a megabyte.
That's insane.
That is
well, don't you remember what happened when the iPhone dropped with the Retina display?
Oh, yeah.
Netflix actually would stream to you, what was it, like 14 megabit or some shit for the feed? And so people are watching a single movie and eating their entire data cap in like an hour and a half. Yeah. So like first month, people were getting like $700 bills and shit and like trying to fight it in court. Yeah. And a lot of them won, but still like why? They worked with them. Netflix worked with them. Apple worked with them. Everybody knew the deal. They knew what was going on, but no, nobody warned customers. There's nothing popping up on your phone saying, yeah, you're about to give $700 to us.
Well, because there's plenty of schmucks out there. There's plenty of schmucks out there whose bill would double or go an extra $50 over, and rather than fight it, they just pay it.
Yeah. Yep. It's just like SMS messages. How much does it fucking cost to send a line of text to somebody through a cell tower? Yet back in the day, if you don't have an unlimited texting plan, they would charge you upwards of 25 cents a message.
25 cents to send, 10 to receive.
Get on the damn internet and send a message to somebody for free, but no, to SMS it, I gotta give them a quarter. Oh my God.
It all comes down to the almighty dollar. And, I understand greed from a fairly different perspective because not only did I grow up poor, but then the good folks, the wonderful folks at Walmart, the Walton family, lives just up the road. And I've seen the way they spend their money. I've seen it personally. I know how they run their company because everybody I know that lives in Northwest Arkansas works for them. Yeah. And they're cheap. They're cheap with their employees. They're cheap with the way they run the company, and it's all about maximizing their personal profit. They're making record profits to make the Rockefellers of old look like they were peasants, man. And it's crazy that we need bonuses that big, and I can't even comprehend it. And it's not that I'm jealous. I mean, sure, I'd like to be a multi-billionaire at the same time, but how many billion? A lot of people don't even have a concept of that term. A million seconds, I think, is 11 minutes. I think somebody said, or I forget, 11 hours. And where a billion is like so many years. Like the difference between a million and a billion. How many billions do you personally need?
I read an article.
If Bill Gates is willing to cut a check for 70% of it, that's too much fucking money.
Yeah, I read an article on MSNBC Money. It was their money segment the other day, and it basically said there was this guy that sent out 13-cent checks to the nation's top 10 paid executives. Right, the top 10 highest grossing earnings in the United States. Mm-hmm. Only 2 people cashed it. One, I don't remember his name. The other person was Donald Trump. Donald Trump cashed a check for 13 cents. It goes to show, though.
I get checks for like 2 cents and 1 cent from places. Do you guys get these like from utilities and credit card creditors and shit? I get these checks for like 1 or 2 cents, and I'm like, oh my God, how didn't it cost more to have somebody cut that check?
But the point is, Donald Trump cashing a 13-cent check just goes to prove and psychologists will tell you that the super rich tend to also be super needy and super greedy and will just want more and more and more and more and super cheap at the same time.
I read one of the most fascinating things. I know we're getting completely off topic, and I'm sorry for this.
This is awesome.
This is one of the most fascinating things I've ever read. And as you guys know, I love to read Reddit, and one of my favorite things to read on Reddit is the Ask Me Any things, but also Ask Reddit. And one of the Ask Reddit posts I read that I'm referencing here was, what is money like when you're rich? What is it like to have that kind of money? Rich people at Reddit, and basically we surmised from that thread that there's 3 different demographics of the way people spend money. If you're poor and money is something you generally don't have any saved, like you get money and it immediately goes out the door. That's the definition of
poor. It's hard to save.
Right. Hard. What people will do when they have that extra money, they will buy a thing. Yep. They will buy new shoes for their kid. They'll buy an Xbox to play. They'll buy something that shows their wealth and feels like a thing. This is an expensive thing that I have here. It's mine. Yeah. A middle-class person has gone past that and is ready to save money. Liquid money in the bank is more important than if they have, say, $5,000 to spend. It's more important to them to have liquid $5,000 than it is to have a $5,000 thing or $5,000 worth of things. And for a rich person, money is power. I have money. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use money to shape the world. And now that brings me back to what Verizon wants to do to the world. They want to stifle creativity. They want to stifle technology. They want to stifle the internet. They want to stifle entertainment. They want to stifle your life. They want to fuck you. I can't believe it. It's like a crazy Bond villain. What the fuck, people? Come on!
Every time he goes into a rage, he breaks the camera.
It's my NSA agent. He doesn't like it when I get angry.
He pulled the plug. He's like doing the finger thing at you. No.
Okay, we had one more official topic on here that I want to talk about, mostly because you asked about where are we in the gaming industry where we have to beg publishers not to break something we like because a demo excited us for once. Activision had a investor meeting the other day, and the CEO, his name is Bobby Kotick. He told investors that Destiny will be the highest selling new video game IP in gaming history. And he's calling it the next billion-dollar franchise. Basically, that's calling it a COD killer, if you will. So what do you think about that? What do you think about making that kind of statement, and what kind of risk is that to the market, at least their shareholders?
Absolutely, number one, you don't ever say shit like that, ever.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you say, hey, we're working on this game. It's a pretty good game. People are really going to like it. Here's the demo. Let's see what people think. You say that. Do you think it's going to be successful? I hope that it'll be successful, and I believe that it might be, and I really hope that it is, and we're really expecting this to do well. That's okay, but it's going to be the next multi-million-dollar franchise. It's going to break into your house and make you play it. That's fucked up.
It's like going into a room of terrorists and being like, ain't nobody gonna kill me, bitches! Yeah, no.
I get it. I get it. It's an IP, but it's still very Borderlands-ish. If you guys don't know what Destiny is, it's an online loot-based FPS game. And, I mean, it's kind of like...
hyped, too.
Massively hyped. Yeah. But every now and then a game does come out that is not new to the genre, but just seems to captivate its players. Like World of Warcraft grabbed a lot of EQ players. And is still around how many years later? So, I mean, it could, but it takes some real balls to get up there and tell the world that you are going to be the number one game in history ever for any IP, of any genre.
At the same time, though, really want to play the game. Like if you guys are watching, call me. I want to play your game. But that's my kind of game. That's exactly what I want to do. I want to play Borderlands on this crazy, awesome scale, and I kind of want it to be good. I want them to not fuck it up. But even like someone who's die-hard excited for it, when you say stuff like that, even I'm like, man, maybe he doesn't know what he's talking about. Maybe they fucked this game up.
Yeah.
And then it takes me a step back,
Yeah.
Because I got my Destiny pre-order in. It's one of those very few games I'm willing to actually hit the pre-order button on. I'm excited. Let's get it happening. But
you almost wonder if they're scared. That almost seems like a scared tactic, because if you're confident what you got, you know what you're bringing to market, you almost want to keep it a little bit of a secret. You want it to take the competition by storm. The only way you're getting up, it's like pumping your chest, be like, "I'll kick all your asses," is when you got a broken arm and a gimp leg, and and your butter knife's missing. Yep. I mean, that's when you start screaming, is because you want to get as many investors as possible to jump on your shit, so that when it does come out and it's a colossal failure,
now Activision has to be watching EA and has seen the media backlash that they've been getting over the last couple of game cycles and game releases, and they have to know that the game crowd, man, and there's more guys out now like Boogie and Total Biscuit and so many other people up there that will rip the shit out of your game. Either they know something we don't, or like Jerry says, it's a bluff. To make that kind of, I don't know of anyone in any industry that would get up and claim that we are better than everyone else in the world regardless.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a massive claim.
That's some ballsy shit. Because at the end of the day, I want it to be good, but you say something like that and it's not. Oh, what a fucking field day!
Because if they had just
some money off your failure.
I mean, if they didn't even do a beta, if they just kind of did a soft release and then a hard release, a couple days later, maybe one platform then another, And it turns out to be okay, but not great. You're just kind of like, whatever. It's not news. But what becomes news is how fucking blatant your lie was.
Have you guys played Game Dev Tycoon? It's available on Steam. It's not very good. I recommend you get it on sale. I got it on sale for like $2.50. But I almost feel like every PR person or every person in the gaming industry needs to just take one day, one 8-hour workday, and play Game Dev Tycoon. Because it shows you there's actually an event that will happen in the game where the press will come to you, and while you're developing a game that's going to be released in the next 3 to 6 months, they'll ask you, hey, what do you think about your game coming up? And you have two choices. You have the choice of be modest, and you have the choice of hype it.
Yeah.
And if you choose to hype it, you'll get a grand amount of hype, which will affect the attention your game gets on release in the game.
Yeah.
And if the attention is high and the game is poor, then you get slammed.
Yep.
And if you're modest, but the game is exceptional, you have less hype, but that hype's worth more. The guy balanced it perfectly. And basically what I'm coming down to is always be modest. That's the lesson you learn in Game Dev Tycoon, because it's always going to be better if you're just not an asshole.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like the iPhone 4 effect that Apple went through. Okay, we have this beautiful design. It's awesome. We've tested it every which way. You know, it's better than every phone on the market. This is what Apple is saying. It's revolutionary. It's not evolutionary. You know, just everything about it. And sure, in their test environments, it was. But once it went out to mass market, it took about 1 hour for everyone to realize there was a fucked up fatal flaw in the antenna, because in all of their testing, they tested it with cases on to hide it in the public.
Yeah,
and they never touched the damn thing.
I have a badass example of just that. Anybody know a little scooter device called a Segway?
Yeah.
Remember when Dean came in for like 2 years, said it was going to change the world, and it was going to change transportation forever, and how people get from point A to point B. He hyped the fuck out of that thing.
He said they will be forced to rebuild cities.
Yes,
to cope
exactly
with the existence of this device, and then he sold 4.
Yeah, no, exactly. It was so hyped up. I was expecting to be able to buy the Millennium Falcon when that came out, basically. Like, I thought it was going to be that good. And then it came out, and I see some guys zipping around. I'm like, oh, how much that cost? Oh, $5,000 for a goddamn battery-powered scooter that stands up when you get off of it.
And you can't...
came, and why? You're a genius!
And you can't fall down on it. And then there's a picture of the president fell flat in his face in the White House lawn.
Why he hyped that? Did he hype his other shit nearly as much? His awesome wheelchair and everything that had the same balancing? No, none of that shit got hyped. This got hyped because he got scared. He knew it was bajillion dollars into it, and he needed it to succeed. Yep. So he tried to get this investor money by just saying it was something that totally wasn't. And unfortunately, But hey, on the plus side, though, look who made it. I mean, Bungie, right? Bungie Studios is no slouch.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just for the street cred from Bungie. I mean, they've got. I actually have a friend who works at Bungie too, so I'm like biased.
I thought you did.
Yeah, and he fucking loves working there. The morale there is amazing. The parties and shit they have, and the pictures he sends me, fucking, I want to go work there. It's an awesome place. So I look at that, and that I can't see how they can really lose. But at the same time, the hype does scare the shit out of me. That's like. I'm with you, Boogie. That's like that's almost a cry for help at that point when you're doing that.
I'm not a betting man, okay? But if it was, I would put every dime I have in the bank that the Metacritic score on that game is going to be 90 plus. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't blame him for believing in his game because it's Bungie. The concept is good. What we've seen so far looks good. I mean, just it's all around, all these perfect elements coming together. And unless you hired some dumbasses, you've got it. You've nailed it. And I can't wait to play it. But at the same time, man, I am not willing to say, buy it or you will literally miss the second coming.
Because, and you can't just rely on the history of the developer either. I mean, look at Maxis. Maxis tried and true for almost 30 years. All it took was EA to fuck it up.
Yep. Well, that's the problem is when you have a high-powered publisher sitting above you like that owns the company, I mean, you can't really fight them on a whole lot. You can't. Yeah. If the bottom line is they want you to hit a date, you're going to hit that date even if it means shipping your goddamn beta. I mean, that's the part that really sucks about EA is EA doesn't allow their companies to basically run themselves. EA runs them. And it's obvious. It shows across all the different publishing houses that they have.
Well, Boogie, we've eaten up a lot more of your time than we promised here, so I'm gonna kind of let you say anything you want to say at this point. And if you can stick around longer, great. If not, we certainly appreciate you joining us tonight. I didn't tell anyone you were coming. I know you and I talked about it kind of last minute. It's been,
He didn't
God.
even tell me, Boogie. He fucking said, "Oh yeah, we want to have a guest. Who's the guest? Oh, you'll find out. It'll be okay." I wasn't expecting it.
I'm just so flaky. You never know.
No, it's been. We did this 8 months ago, and it was great. But it is what it is, and I'm glad you were able to come.
Can you take a moment just to gay out just a little bit here? I just want to tell Boogie, I love what you do, man. I honestly do.
Oh, sorry, the wrong kind. Oh, awesome. I love you too, brother. I love your tweets. I love hanging out with you. This is good stuff. Let me say this to wrap it up, okay? We've talked a lot about a lot of different things right now. And there's some really talented people in the industry. There's some really talented tech people in the United States and the world. There's a lot of really talented gamers. There's a lot of talented people, critics. One thing that I've learned in the 40 years that I've been alive, and this is what's going wrong at EA. This is what's going wrong at Verizon. This is what was going wrong at the Xbox division. This is just don't be an asshole. Empathy is something that we've really lost anymore. And at the end of the day, whether it's Adam Orth we're talking about, or the president of Verizon, or the president of Comcast that said people don't want high-speed internet, have a little empathy. Try to understand, specifically when you're in a position of power. Try to understand the people around you. Try to understand, just don't be an asshole. Asshole. You know?
Yeah, I get it, man. Well, Boogie, I genuinely appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us here tonight.
I love everything you guys do. I really appreciate you guys having me here. YouTube.com/Boogie2988.
It's down below your name.
Video. It's really funny.
I watched it. I liked it. And guys, if you follow Boogie here, hit that like button for just for his appearance tonight, because it means a lot to us. It means a lot to you guys. Boogie, as always, we love you, man. Thanks for coming by. And we'll do it again next year sometime.
That's our schedule. That's our schedule. Isn't it?
Once a year.
Bye.
All right, guys.
All right, take it easy.
So here we are. It's just Jerry and I. Jerry, I'm going to get your video up here properly now.
Fix me, Jerry. Fix me.
Oh, so
that was awesome.
Gosh, I don't know how to.
Now that he's gone, I can actually start working this boner down a little bit. Oh, that was awesome.
Okay. Why can't I get that? There we go. There you are. Oh my God, big face. You're huge. Okay.
Huge, Jay. Mm-hmm.
Let me see. You're not widescreen, which is really weird. And let's face it, you need widescreen.
I do need widescreen. You know what? I'm gonna fix that shit right now. Will you talk to me? All right. Let's see.
Then I'll go ahead and bring your camera up in a moment here. Guys, let's go ahead and just take a moment to kind of talk about our sponsors. Aqua Tuning and CM Storm, Cooler Master, down in the description there. You will find links to their pages, as well as a JayzTwoCents code you can use at the CM store to get 10% off anything there. And you know what's kind of unique about that code? At first, they only wanted to offer it on a couple of items, and I said, if you really want me to drive traffic to your store, don't limit yourself to just 2 or 3 items. So you guys can have the entire store for 10% off at that point. Just buy the whole store. I get no kickback out of it, honestly. It's a code that you guys get exclusively. I get no return on that. I just want to point that out. All right, well, we've got 30 minutes left in this show, and one of the things that we've really lacked over the last few weeks is getting, Q&A and answers with our fans here. So let's go ahead and get that off there. What the heck is going on here? All right, there we go.
I couldn't make it widescreen for some reason. It won't let me. It said
no. It has something to do with when we do a group call and then we switch back to a single call. Okay. So whatever.
It's a feature.
It's a feature, not a bug. So, man, I love getting Boogie in here for a couple of reasons. One, so many people can still see that he's not Francis. He's actually a really intelligent guy.
Yeah, he is.
And 2, he brings a lot of insight to these conversations because, as you guys all know, how Jerry and I are talking to these manufacturers on the back end, he's talking to these game developers on the back end. And he tells it like it is with these guys, which I think is amazing. So, all right, guys, so let's go ahead and do Q&A for the last 27 minutes or so that we're in here. How dare I have sponsors? I know, right? I hate getting something back for the amount of time I put into this channel. Jerry, what are you typing over there?
Oh, I'm just talking to all of our awesome people in chat here.
Have you guys?
Somebody said they lost their boner because of the ball hair on Jay's chin. So I was just like, I had to type ha 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 because it was kind of funny.
Oh, on Jay's chin?
Yeah.
See, you know what's really weird is the way some of these people will fixate on something. Like some people fixate on the fact that I don't blink, or that I have facial hair, or that I have like a fucked up tooth over here. It's like, why do people fixate on this shit? It's like,
Beautiful eyes, Jay. It's those beautiful eyes.
Okay, I'm kind of sad because I wanted to do my Titanfall. I wanted to do a Titanfall like thoughts and opinions video, but I derped and didn't get any footage before the game went out of beta. So I guess we're gonna have to wait until retail launch on that one. But anyway.
Yes, and I got a Titanfall video out right at the line.
Yeah. I couldn't do it. I let my viewers choose, and they chose 2 other videos prior to that one. So,
it's a
viewers'
good game,
choice.
though. It's legitimately a good game, and if they don't fuck it up in the next 2 months, it's going to be a great. I mean, it'll get me back into FPS. It really will. I mean, between Battlefield 4 and COD, it kind of killed me down a little bit, especially on PC with surround and all the fucking problems. And stuff.
I haven't been playing Call of Duty since it's been almost 2 years, at least a year and a half since I've really actually played. But you and I were live streaming yesterday. I was live streaming. You were trying to record until you started breaking your drivers. We played Battlefield 4 because, let's face it, I still like the game play of the franchise. Battlefield 4 is still fucking broken, and I keep trying to play because some nights I really have a fun time. Other nights it's like rageaholic. Yeah. But then we said, fuck this, let's go to Titanfall. And look at how much fun we had at that moment forward. It's like, we were getting our asses handed to us. We had full-on squads that were teaming up against us. They were trash-talking, and we were just having so much fun with it.
No, and that's the thing is, it didn't even matter that we were winning. It's like when I play a game like Battlefield 4,
you mean losing? We're losing. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, I'm always losing, but but at least in Titanfall, when you lose, it's so fast-paced, it's so involved with the NPCs being. I mean, that was a really good call to have non-player characters running.
Yeah, because I can kill somebody when I'm losing.
Yeah, it's like fuck. Okay, I'm not good enough to kill pilots, but then I can go rage out when the pod hits the ground, just be like, I am Corleone.
Every now and then, awesome. Every now and then a pod will land in front of me, and it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck up these NPCs.
I do. When I see a pod, I turn around. I'm like, I'm gonna chuck some grenades in there and just fuck them all up. And you know what? They can't shoot straight. They're mildly retarded. It's awesome. Don't change that.
You want to talk about mild retardation? I actually got meleeed to death by a grunt. So I was sitting there trying to lock onto a Titan with my anti-Titan weapon, and I'm sitting there and I'm getting hit markers, and I'm like, ow, what the hell? And I'm trying to get this shot off, and finally I die, and I'm watching the replay. There was a grunt just sitting there like kicking at me, but he kept missing. So he was sitting there kicking, and then finally landed one. I think he missed 4 before he finally got me, and I thought back and I was like, man, I just got kicked to death by a grunt with like cataracts and no vision.
There's some weird deaths in that game. Like, I think one of my best deaths was I climbed up on the back of a Titan, ripped the shield off, and was going to start blowing its brains out, and another Titan came over and punched me off of him. And I'm just, like, picturing in my head, I'm like, a giant Titan coming over and just punching the other one in the back of the head, like, as hard as it can to kill me. It's like swatting a fly with a 10,000-pound arm, you know? It was weird. Well, it was really weird that he chose that.
It's like me saying, Jerry, hold on, there's something on your head. And I grabbed his laptop, and I'm like, okay,
boom! What the fuck happened? Oh, I just squashed a bug. It's all right.
But, I think there's another aspect to Titanfall which I think is really funny, and that is the fact that they have console-style game lobbies. So you get 80 seconds to shit talk.
Trash talking the hell out of the other team. That was awesome.
I know, right?
What was it, 5 or 6 people showed up, and they were obviously in the same clan. They had the same clan tag.
And they were all level 14.
And they're shit talking us back. And I mean, even though the audio quality completely fucking sucked, worst audio quality ever in the history of any game, it didn't matter just because it was so good. The fact that they let you get each other riled up before the game. It was awesome.
So you go into the game, you get your ass handed to you, and as the game is ending, you're like, wait for it. Here comes the lobby, and they're like, you suck! Get wrecked! Oh, you suck! And I'm like, oh yeah, your mama wants her basement back. She wants her... Oh, what? We're just like going back and forth, and it's like, I got 60 seconds to tell you what a fucking dickhead you are, and then I'm gonna move on.
Yeah. No, but that's just it. It's awesome, right? I mean, that's what I used to like about Xbox too, is you could get on there and just go to town. And that was the nice aspect of console gaming, is you didn't have to go have your separate team speak and shit and get on there and just have the people that you want to talk to that you don't want to shit talk. I like that random encounters aspect of it.
Yeah.
And it allowed you to mute people, which was nice. So if you had somebody who was just being completely fucking annoying, you could easily shut them up.
Carlos Madrid in the chat is talking about quad Titan blacks because they cost more and you can play Titanfall with Titans. It would be just it's so incredibly cliche. Anyone who has a Titan to play Titanfall, in my opinion. Not a bad thing. I just think it's funny.
Did you see my tweet too, EVGA?
Yeah, I did.
Can you guys give me a couple Titans so I can play Titans SLA on my Titans?
I did, which I think is hilarious then, because I had that phone call with EVGA, and they're like, "You're not going to ask us for Titans, are you?" Because we keep getting asked for Titans from people, and I'm like, "Jerry, yeah, it's Jerry."
No, I sent mail months ago, and I was like, "Hey, can you guys give me a couple Titans? Because I want to do some videos." Crickets chirping. Jay's like, "Hey, what's up, guys? Can I?" He didn't get Titans, but he's like, "Hey, can I have a card?" And they're like, "Yeah, thanks for not asking for fucking Titans like that other dickhole."
No, it was funny. The very first thing out of their mouth was like, "Okay, don't ask for any Titans. We don't have Titans."
Yeah, no, I ruined that for everybody, guys.
They don't even have any. Honestly, that's what they say. They don't have any.
I imagine they wouldn't. GPU production is always way less than demand. It seems like.
Well, yeah, it is. In fact, GPUs from any company is hard to get. Like I can get a company to send me product that costs way more than a GPU in value, but the GPU is the exclusive. You can't get it. It's crazy. So, okay, what do we got here? Oh my God, these lobbies filled with shit talking is probably the only thing I miss from playing Xbox. You know, the thing, I can deal with it on PC. You know why? Because everyone doesn't have squeaky voices. Like, they're not kids. That's the thing with Xbox. Yeah, you suck. You suck. No, Mom, I want to play more.
Fucking shit. You know,
You're
it's like, what did you say? Like,
head.
it wasn't even a coherent sentence.
Yeah, exactly. COD is free on Steam. COD should just be free everywhere. That way people can see what a clusterfuck it truly is.
They should actually pay you to play it. Like, just fucking make it an ads-based game and put a banner down at the bottom for Viagra. Then somebody might play it.
I want to answer questions here because people say we never address the crowd with their questions,
but
I'm not seeing any questions. Maybe we've gotten them assimilated to not asking questions, and now that we want to, they're like, "Fuck, Jay, make up your mind."
No, I just think we spoiled them with Boogie is what we did. Now Boogie's gone, and they're like, "Who are these fuckers?"
We only lost about 100 people when you left. That's not too bad.
Yeah, actually, it wasn't too bad. I was surprised.
Yeah. Barn, are you waiting for 790s?
No, I will never fucking touch a 7.9 or any X9 series. I stay away from those. I had such a bad experience with a 590 GTX. I spent $1,500 on a hydro copper classified GTX 590 when it first came out, and that card had nothing but fucking problems. You couldn't overclock it at all. It had problems with the drivers. You could tell NVIDIA didn't put any effort into the whole double slide on a single. Ever since that experience, I will not touch a card that has 2 GPUs on it. I mean, I want 2.
Your call got fucked up. There's one point at which I will say it's okay to buy a dual GPU card like that, is if it's a custom card like the Mars or the Ares or something like that from Asus, where they actually customize it and make it from scratch. So then
I see.
Yeah, and your camera's frozen, so if you want to restart it real quick.
You're still gonna have driver problems though, it seems like.
Yeah, but I think the drivers see those cards as 2 independent cards. I really do. Where I think the smart drivers that NVIDIA puts out with their 90 series cards is proprietary in a sense. I don't know. But like the Ares and the Mars and those dual GPU cards, those custom PCB cards, have always performed really well. Like the Mars, which is 2 760 GPUs, performs almost as good as a 780 Ti. So
no, that's pretty cool. But that's just it. Is like if I buy an expensive card that's got like a water block on it. I know the Mars doesn't, but I want to water cool my cards, which means I want the best chance at overclocking, and I'm not going to be able to achieve that with a dual GPU card. I'm just not, because now you're dissipating both that heat into the same water block. It's just not going to be as efficient as having 2 separate water blocks.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with your camera, by the way. It's not.
Yeah, I'm fixing it right now. There we go.
Okay, so there was a question up here. Fletcher S asked, "What do you guys think about Titanfall Prestige? Does it Prestige? I didn't actually. I didn't
even know. I never made it that far.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. If it does, so
if you prestiged on the short beta of Titanfall, you're awesome.
Yeah. Somebody asked me, Jay, are you partner channel? Yes, I've been partnered since 45 subs, I think.
Oh, Michael asked me, he said, "Hey, can you and Jerry discuss your college education and professional experience?"
I've been very open about this on my vlog channel.
I'll let Jay start out with this. Go take it, Jay.
Well, I'm self-taught, and I do not have a college education. I do not have a degree. And
you want to know what else is funny? I don't have one either, huh, Jay?
Yeah, you and I are perfect examples of what the workforce is looking for. They're looking for experienced people who have any form of experience, whether it be self-taught, but a portfolio where you can perform and prove yourself. In fact, we had a meeting in our because Jerry obviously works for Microsoft. I work for a private proprietary software developer, and I work in the IT department for the software development. And I do have some coding knowledge, nowhere near. I'm not a developer, but I am involved in all of the Scrum meetings. And Scrum basically is a daily meeting where you get together and you debug and you talk with QA. And
we do Scrum also.
Yeah, and so I'm deeply involved in Scrum. And one of the discussions we constantly have is we're hiring right now. We need a senior dev, and nowhere along the line does the discussion ever say, well, he needs to have this degree or he needs to have this cert. It's always he needs to be proficient in this language. He needs to know this or that. They don't give a shit what your schooling history is if you can perform the duty. And IT is the same way when it comes to networking and whatnot. And by guys, true IT is not so much like I can put this video card in this computer or I can back up this hard drive. It is network infrastructure, security infrastructure, VPNing, point-to-pointing, things like that. You know, making 6 offices in different parts of the world act as one network, that sort of thing. Yeah. That's IT.
Now, Microsoft's a little bit different than that, and that is that they value education today just because there's such a huge, there's a huge pool of people that are looking for programming jobs. So obviously the people that have really prestigious educations go to the top. Me, on the other hand, I started 15 years ago back when they were dying to find people, and I happen to know how to program and C and C++. I had a background in I could do some Perl scripting. I had some Pascal experience. But that was all stuff that they needed back then. And so they looked at the resume and they're like, holy shit, we don't care what education you have if you can do these things. And it worked out. And another thing is you can also come into a job as a lesser position, like a contractor, like I did. And you might not be able to come in the front door and be like, hire me as a senior developer, but you might be able to come in and be a network engineer or something like that through a contract agency, prove your worth, and then work your way up from the inside. So there's multiple ways to get into companies and to work your way up. But like, for instance, this is the most common question I actually get asked is, what do you recommend? I'm thinking about getting into programming. What do you recommend I do to get in a company? I'll tell you exactly what you need to do. One is go develop a whole bunch of applications that solve problems. Even if they already exist, go create versions of them that you like, that have the functionality that you want. Put that stuff up, give it away. Put it on SourceForge, put it up for free, stick it on your resume, update your LinkedIn, because companies are constantly looking for developers out there, and they want to see a living portfolio.
Yes.
They want to be able to go and play your game. If you created Flappy Bird, right? If you're the guy that created Flappy Bird, it doesn't matter if you didn't even graduate grade school. They're going to look at your thing and go, holy shit, he made something that people really liked, which means the guy understands the market, he knows what's fun, he knows how to create a challenging game, he knows how to do graphics. There's a lot that you can glean from that. So I tell everybody, if you're really serious about being a developer, put in the time, take that passion, put it out there on the internet, update your LinkedIn and stuff like that. You'll be surprised. People start contacting you.
Yeah, everyone in our company has a LinkedIn except for me, and they keep asking me, why don't you do LinkedIn? I'm like, you know what? I hate...
You need to.
I know that, but I am so turned off by like social media as it is. I do it because it's interacting with my fans, or I don't want to say fans, my viewers is fun, but the last thing I want to do is be social networking on a company level. I hate it, but I know it's the thing now in the market that we're in.
Well, just to give you an idea, I get between 6 to 10, and this has nothing to do with the YouTube channel either, but I get 6 to 10 companies that contact me a week asking me to come in to interview. And some of them are like internet startups and stuff like that, and they're mass fishing, but some of the positions that they're hiring for from some of these companies, I'm looking at it, I'm like, wow, I'm surprised they would even consider me.
Yeah.
And it's because they look at the resume and they're like, wow, he has 15 years experience at Microsoft as a developer, he's done this, and that's exciting to him.
Your 15 years at Microsoft is more valuable than any level of education at any Ivy League college right now. But
experience will always win out. It just will.
But I want people to hear me loud and clear, and I think you would agree. I would never recommend somebody skip school, though, if you have the ability or opportunity to go. Because
I wish I could go to college. I honestly wish I had gone to college.
To get where I am, which is nowhere near, at the professional level at which you are, is so much harder without something to grab someone's attention.
Yeah. You basically have to use backdoors and you have to work your way up. I mean, you're not... backdoors. Did I just say that? Let's use backdoors, Jay. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. If you have the ability to go to school, absolutely do it. But the other thing that I really want to express to people too, because I do a lot of interviews, guys. I interview a lot of people that come in for jobs, and we do interview loops, and I'm in on them.
Yeah.
The number one thing I can't stand is when you can tell in 5 minutes that somebody has zero passion for programming, that they just went to school to learn it because that was the hot thing to do.
Like nursing.
Yeah, and they've got no passion for it at all.
Yep.
And you can tell in 5 minutes talking to somebody. I would rather hire the person that comes in that's like, you know, I only did my 1 year at college. I didn't quite get my degree, but holy shit, I wrote this game and I did this and I created this application. I got this at home and I run a Minecraft server. Yeah. I want to hire that guy. I don't want to hire the guy that comes in. It's like, okay, I got an 8-year degree and I've got a bachelor associates in computer science. But during my free time, I don't even have a computer at home. And, you know, I like to ride Segway scooters up and down the street. I mean, the guy that has no interest in it or no passion for it, there's a lot of companies, they're going to see that immediately. So don't go to school and think, I'm going to go learn to be a developer because it's going to be lucrative. Go to school if you want to be a developer. Do what you're passionate about.
My boss has tried so many times to push me into a more developer role. He's even offered to rearrange my schedule to allow me to go back to school, but I do not have the passion for writing code, so I won't do it.
A lot of people don't. They really don't. And a lot of people look at me and they're like, holy shit, you have like ADHD and you're squirrel chaser. And how can you sit down and code? I found that it's one thing I can actually do that calms me.
It's the way your brain is programmed. My brain is not programmed that way.
Yeah, I've sat down before, guys. No shit. I've sat down before and actually programmed from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. And I left once to use the bathroom. I didn't even eat. Yep. I didn't drink. I didn't do anything. And my wife actually came and checked on me at some point and was like, yeah, are you dying up there?
Yeah.
Like, what? You know, she was genuinely worried. She thought, fuck, I haven't heard from my husband the entire day on a weekend. And it's just like, up in it.
Look, my boss, and my wife would confirm this story. My boss, on more than one occasion, has offered to pay to move me to Cambridge, which is where our main development office is. They've offered to pay to move me to Cambridge, give my wife some sort of assisted placement on finding her a job to get out there, significantly bumping up my salary to come in as a attending junior dev, but I won't do it. I won't do it because I know I wouldn't enjoy it, and the money at that point would be moot.
Yeah, no, I honestly, in your situation, it's like, and I find this actually funny because we call your type of guys, we call you operations.
Look, yeah, I agree. We have IT ops, but we also have dev. I'm in between. I'm the one guy in our company that's in between both departments. That
makes you incredible. But that's the thing is that's a huge niche, and that gives you a huge advantage from an ops perspective.
It does.
But from a developer perspective, it doesn't give you a niche.
Yeah.
Because it might give you some power over the infrastructure, but generally the infrastructure's off the developer's plate.
Yeah.
But it's cool because that gives you like a really good niche, and you're really good at what you do, but you still understand enough of the programming to bridge that gap better than anybody else can.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
That's why I said I'm in IT, but I'm involved in Scrum, because I bridge that gap. Because our IT ops guys don't know the first thing about development, like even on a basic level. And our devs, they have some networking ability, but if you go into ops and you sit in their office for one day, you'll just hear, God, what are they doing? Why did they set the VM up this way? Or why did they? And it's like, God, this SAN is so effed up. And we're making trips down to the data center to go and fix things. And it's like, okay, you know, those two departments, don't call dev IT. Never call a developer in IT, because that will piss them off. And IT doesn't want to have anything to do with devs because they're the geeks and they don't understand each other.
Yeah. And the other common misconception that people have is that developers are like the highest paid people in the company. It's actually not true. I mean,
Someone pointed out my shirt.
Yeah,
my daughter keeps coming up to me and going, Daddy, you're that one right there.
Yeah.
Like, thanks.
Truth is, though, guys, I know people that are in ops positions that make a lot more than I do. Because they're like principal ops and senior ops. I mean, just like in development, you can climb the ranks and you can actually, I think you can even become a partner as an operational leader. I mean, it's something that the company needs. It's just as important as being able to code. A lot of people are like, oh my God, the developers of companies like gaming companies. Do you think that the developers are the guys that are the highest paid people at the company? Yeah. Some of them are, sure. But some of the graphics artists are paid more. Some of the level designers are paid more. It just depends.
And if you talk about pure dollars per hours worked, the actors and voice talent get paid quite a bit.
Oh yeah, no, the voice talent in games is very, very expensive, especially if you're using people that have actually done acting before
and look at how many of these development companies for games have started using A-list celebrity voices.
Yeah. Well, a good example would be like GTA 5, right? A couple of those guys, they weren't really mainstream. They did theater and stuff like that. But God, for 2 years, those guys did that job.
Yep.
For 2 years, they were doing all the voice acting on that job. Imagine how much money that company shelled out for all that voice acting. I mean, they need it. And then the other thing is they have to make sure that the pay is good, because they will try to break the contract if they don't think they're going to make enough money to get through it. So they have to make sure that these guys are going to stick around for 2 years to record the entire script as the game's being developed. And so there's a lot of money being thrown at those guys, but they're in the minority. That's the thing is, for voice talent for a game, you might only need half a dozen people, but developers, you might need hundreds. Graphics artists, you might need hundreds.
Yeah. But I think to answer that question, you need to seriously sit down and decide what it is you want to do in the tech field, because it's not like, see, in college, they'll break it down as computer science, and then you have a couple of subclasses based on a couple of niches in there. But when you get into the field and into the market, it is so incredibly diverse. I mean, you've got systems analysts, systems admin, database managers. I mean, you've got so much stuff, and they all kind of know their own piece. Like, if you go to our DBA or DBM and ask him something about, like, SQL or .NET, usually, or not SQL, but .NET, he's like, I don't know, go talk to blah blah blah. It's like they all have their piece.
You brought up SQL. You brought up SQL. Oh my God! If you've got OCD, please go be a database engineer. Database engineers are paid bank. They make so much money, because think about it. As a database engineer, you can go and change one small little query. And save the company $1 billion.
So literally, our senior DBA, our database admin, his name is Peter, and we call him. Okay, this might offend some people. Trust me, this isn't what I call him, but it's what they call him over there. They call him Space Jesus, because he has like Doc Brown crazy hair, right? Like from Back to the Future. And, he always dresses in the same thing, a white button-up shirt tucked into like stone bleach jeans. That's all he wears. Every day it's the same thing. He's got crazy mad scientist hair, right? And he's very matter-of-fact when he talks. He's maybe in his upper 40s, I think he's in his upper 40s. And when he talks, he's very, when it comes to the database and blah, blah. He's very, like, when you listen to him talk, you kind of like...
Well, here's the funny thing. To him, it's exciting as hell, I'm sure.
It is. But every now and then, I'll write him something. Because, I also do SQA. I'm a software quality assurance. And I'll ask him something like, hey, do you have a query for XYZ? And he'll come back and be like, I custom wrote this query for you, and you'll find that it's quite elegant because it will blah, blah. And he'll just go into all the reasons why this huge query is just...
Dude, SQL's an art.
It is.
SQL's more art than science. Like, there's it's funny because I think SQL stands for structured query language, which I don't find it structured at all. But programming in a C syntax style language like me, it's like everything you can expect to work a certain way. There's a very specific way. In SQL, syntax and shit changes as you go. It's not like completely solid. So there's all kinds of like little nichey things that you need to know about, and especially depending on the version of SQL. Are you using Microsoft SQL, or are you using Oracle, or are you using the other database software? But the cool thing is you can go and write a query. And I do this. I actually write SQL queries. I have to for a lot of my projects. But I'll sit down and I'll write a query. I'll spend all day on it, put my entire ability into it. I'm proud of it. I'm like, I run the query. It takes 40 seconds. I get all my data back. I'm like, fuck yeah. And then one of the guys on my team, who's actually a legitimate database guy, he comes in and looks at my query. And we're talking like, a good 2 pages of SQL.
Makes it a few lines.
He looks at it for 5 minutes, and it's a couple lines, and he gets it down to like 3 seconds.
Yeah.
From 40 seconds to 3 seconds. And then he's like, I'm like, why does that even work? You wrote some obfuscated shit that's hard to read. It doesn't make any sense. He's like, oh, no, but the way the relational database works with the index and the way that it stores the thing in the bit index, it's in clusters of 8 bytes. So if you search by this offset, I'm like, fuck! And so he's that good at what he does, and that comes from the passion. That doesn't come from just sitting there and learning it all. It's just the dude fucking eats, sleeps, and shits SQL.
Dude, we have our DBA, obviously, we have other guys who write SQL for us that... Their entire job is to do nothing but SQL efficiency, and there's times where they're like, "Oh yeah, we managed to get this SQL that takes a second to query comes back. Oh, we managed to knock off 0.3 seconds, and that's all they'll do." And there's been queries the head of our development, our masters of MIT is his educational level. He is our chief technology officer. He'll write something up and be like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, the performance of this query, it's a little substandard. It takes about 35 seconds to run, but I think it's okay. Our DBA Peter I talked about, he'll take it like you just said, and he will just smash it down to a couple of seconds. And Paul's usually like, well, I guess that's why I pay you.
But that's the funny thing. That's what saves companies money. If you want to be able to impact the bottom line of a company, everything's going to the cloud. Everything's about data storage and acquisition. If you become good at that, I mean, you can make a small fortune.
Yeah.
But the thing is with SQL is, again, it has to be one of those things you're passionate about. I love database engineering. I do. I love SQL, but I only dabble in it as a hobbyist to get my prototypes done. I hand it over to an optimization expert to make it actually work properly.
Right.
Because I don't have that level of knowledge, and to be honest, it's scary the type of shit that these guys can find. I can write the simplest query in the world. Go select one thing from one column, top 100, and he'll somehow still optimize that shit to run faster. And I'm like, how? This is the most basic query. How can you make it any faster? And he does. And the thing is, it's not just about the query. It's also about designing the database itself. How you design the structure of the database is a huge thing. Yeah. So those guys, that's who, I look up to those guys. I really do. Because at the end of the day, I can write an application that a bunch of people use. But if there's data in the cloud and you have to access it, every kilobyte of bandwidth you save and every kilobyte of CPU time that you save and every kilobyte of memory that you save on that server equates to hundreds and thousands and millions of dollars when you're dealing with a large corporation.
Yeah.
So those are the guys that really get to see their reward. I mean, they do something and they see their impact. Sometimes with being a tools developer and stuff like that, it's hard to see your impact sometimes. But I think that's really cool. So if you guys are out there, you want to become programmers, make sure you're passionate about it. If you're not, check out being a database engineer. If you're not, then go work in a lab. And if you love doing networking shit, do networking shit, because that's infinitely complex. If you think it's just as simple as plugging in cables into shit and it working, that's at home. When you're in an enterprise, it's creating VLANs and setting things up and traffic shaping and bandwidth allocation. There's a lot that goes into it.
If I was to put together a checklist, we just moved one of our EPOs, our satellite offices, out of the main corporation office, which is where I work, into a satellite office because we ran out of room. We've been growing a lot, and I moved into that office. If I could put together for you guys just the checklist and the order of events of things that went down to get that office set up on the VPN and everything ready to go, you guys would not believe, because at that point we're also dealing with a point-to-point pulling fiber off of the other office. So we didn't set up new internet connection at that office. We had point-to-point fiber set up between the two as an extension, which is like basically running like a big RJ45 basically as a fiber. But getting it all set up on that VPN and getting all the other offices set up it's so much involved. And I hate when guys are like, oh yeah, I can do networking because I have a router that I hooked up to my modem and I ran a cable with a wireless bridge on the other side of the house. Yeah, I'm a network engineer. No, you're not. Trust me.
No, I was a network engineer for a couple of years, and I will tell you what, it was a very humbling experience when I got into it. Because when I first started Microsoft, this is a funny thing, I haven't always been a developer, guys. When I started at Microsoft, it was as a contractor in a hardware role. I was an ops support guy that went in and pulled computers down in a lab that had 600 computers because it took too long to send a computer back to the OEM to be replaced. So what they would do is they would just give me a cache of hard drives, memories, common parts, power supplies, and I would go and find the machines that were dead, identify them, tag them, pull them out, replace the hardware, boot them up, put a test OS on them, stick them back in their slot. And I knew how to code. I never put it on my resume, but I knew how to code since I was like 7 years old, but I never had any kind of education. So I just went ahead and didn't put that on the resume. Well, when I was inside, I started writing tools to help ping the machines and identify the dead ones so that I could go find them easier and get them out of the loop. And I started writing all these tools, and they're like, wow, you did this? And that's when I transitioned out of that into a role of a developer. But during that time, I was actually in charge of the network for the lab, and we had this damn thing called a Cisco Catalyst router. Are you familiar, Jay? This is pretty old router. Yeah, the Cisco Catalyst router, you look at it, the fucking thing is huge. It's absolutely huge, bigger than my computer case. Has like 240 different nodes on the front of it to attach. And I had to manage this thing for the lab, and I will tell you what, when a computer went down, it took me fucking hours to figure out where the problem was in the network.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't just go unplug and plug cables and stuff. You had to connect shit up to the router with a serial port and run a bunch of commands and stuff to figure out where the packets were being lost.
Even though this office was a professional building, and it's a pretty big office. If you guys saw it, you'd be like, wow. Even though it was completely pre-wired, we went in and rewired it ourselves. That way we could properly tag and identify those nodes.
Yeah, you have to. You literally have to. Like, every single wire that's plugged in inside the cabinet has to be like, you have to know where the other end of that is.
Right.
And sometimes it's not the other end of that is another router.
Yeah.
It's we used to call it like the spaghetti closet, because you'd like open the doors. We had the big doors. You'd open them, and you'd have all the patch panels, and they would ultimately all be going to the router. But then you'd go to the patch panel, and some of the patch panel cords would be going somewhere, and there'd be a loose wire.
Yep.
Off one of the things, so you'd plug it in. So then you had to run around with the network tester, and at every single stage throughout this thing, which could sometimes be 12 or 13 steps through the building, you'd test this thing, and then you'd finally find out where it was dead, but that still wasn't the end of it. You had to check the wiring, then you had to backtrace the cable, then you had to get on the router and make sure the port wasn't fucked up on it.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
a lot of work.
That's why before we moved in, we literally rewired the entire thing ourselves from the network room to all of the different workstations.
A lot cheaper than trying to figure it out after the fact.
Yeah, we didn't trust it at all. So, okay, one question I want to talk about real quick before we get out of here. The tech kid asked basically, because we did a lot of gaming topics today, how we feel about kids in gaming. Now, you have a young one, I have a young one, and I can tell you right now, the gaming market is not very young child friendly anymore.
It's not.
My daughter, her computer is very strictly limited on where she can go, and she's only allowed to go do games at places like Disney Junior and Nick Jr., stuff like that, which is very closely monitored. But she's reaching that age where those games are going to be too kiddie and baby for her, but there won't be any games ready for her either, because let's face it, you have like general audience or E for everyone, and then like rated R or whatever rated M now. That's like hardly anything in the middle anymore.
Yeah, you'll get what is that? God, when you come home from war, you got the war
PTSD.
Syndrome. Yeah, the post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, that should be a rating on the game. Seriously, PTSD. For GTA 5, that should have been the rating.
You get the flashing lights may cause epileptic seizures. Yep. No, in this one here may cause PTSD.
Well, I can tell you what I did for my kid. He's just about 4 years old. And
my daughter's turning 5, to put it in perspective.
Yeah, and he's quite a bit behind kids of his normal age because he actually has the autism spectrum thing, which now they've reclassified into something else. But anyways, he gets my old Nintendo DS, and it's got just one game in it. It's the little Mario Brothers game, and he's allowed to play that, and that's about it. I don't really let him play anything else. And then on the iPad, my wife has a bunch of educational games that he plays. But she locks it down so that once he's in the game, he has to stay in the game, and we monitor him and stuff like that. And the scary thing is this is how we operate. But we just recently went to a friend's house, and their kid, who's also, I think he's 4.5 years old, he's a little bit older, but they give him an iPad Mini, and he's watching YouTube videos. I was like, are you shitting me? I mean, I don't like judging other parents because I was one of those people when we were going to have our kid, we're like, he's never watching TV. We're going to raise him right. We're going to feed him good. And it's like, no, now we feed him ice cream and let him watch whatever on the TV. But it was just weird because YouTube is such a hit and miss thing. You can type in cars and get borderline porn as the third result. So I thought it was really weird that they were like, oh yeah, we just let him run around the house and play with that all day. And so it's really, really hard to pick what's right for your kid when everybody else, his friends and shit, have different rules. Have you encountered that yet, where your kid thinks that she should be able to do something because her friends are able to do it?
The neighbor kid that she plays with the most across the street is 8. My daughter is turning 5.
Oh, yeah, that makes things really difficult.
But
I remember growing up, I was allowed to shoot guns, Jay. I grew up.
My dad started teaching me.
Right?
My dad started teaching me how to respect a gun at 6.
Yeah, I had a .22 rifle when I was 11 years old that I could actually take out anytime I wanted to go out and shoot on the range in the backyard.
Yeah.
And my friend would come over, and he was a year older than me, and his mom would be like, nope, he is forbidden to touch that gun. He's not allowed to be out there. He can't. So I couldn't bring it out. My mom would actually have to confiscate it and put it in a room for him to be able to come over and play.
Yeah.
And so it's really hard. I'm curious what that's going to be like when he gets older, with the games.
Well,
he's going to be like, my friend's got GTA 19. Why can't I play it? And I'm like, because I don't want to see I don't want you seeing Trevor trying to fuck a pig. Okay.
See, the shitty thing is my daughter is so much. She's so advanced and accelerated for her age that's why the 8-year-old doesn't even mind playing with her, because she's like playing with another 8-year-old. Yeah. And she has her own iPad. She does, I'll admit it. But it's also locked down. She can't download nothing. She can't go to the Internet Explorer. She can't go to Safari on it. She can't go to YouTube or any of that stuff. And if she wants to do something that her iPad doesn't already do, she has to bring it to me. I'll go into the admin profile, unlock whatever it is she wants, check it out. Okay, fine, here you go. So it's in fact, it's the same thing we do with our employees. But anyway.
Well, it's nice nowadays, right? Because at least parents now know the threat, right? When I was growing up, my parents did. Well, I'm gonna go out on a limb. Let's just say more. We'll say more parents know the threat, right? But I remember growing up, my parents, when I got my first computer, my first real computer, it was I had a Commodore and shit, but my first real connected online computer was a 28612 LaserPal 28612 megahertz from Sears. And I remember I used to go get these bulletin board lists from the library, and I'd dial them up on my modem. I had a 2400 baud modem. I'd HDT, put in the number, and you'd be connected. And like this ASCII art would be showing up. It's like nuclear blasts, and you go in and download stuff, and there'd be a folder called Porn 1 and Porn 2 and Porn 3, and I was like, I was like 7 or 8 years old, like when I got this thing, and I'm like, so I got exposed to really bad shit at a young age, and my parents never knew about it.
But you and I were the guinea pigs of the internet, though. We absolutely were. And I'm going to say, in my defense, it kind of worked out because I learned a lot growing up through all the bad shit that I did on how to do the good things. It was kind of like a trial by fire education. But I'm glad that parents now know, for the most part, that there is a danger out there, and they have things to protect their kids. Like my parents had no idea what I was doing. They're like, oh wow, that's cool. Your computer could dial another computer. That's awesome. But what they didn't know is, I can dial another computer and illegally download software, download porn, download this, get the anarchist cookbook, get the the alt 2600 frack shit. I mean, you remember the terrorist handbook back in the day? Oh yeah, that was like almost a joke. They were just like giving away, and it was like, I mean, it would tell you in detail how to make bombs and shit. It's still up there. It's still up there on the net now, but it's highly monitored. Yeah, specifically,
you call the BBS, download it. You're like, I got a text file, and you'd open it up, and it'd be like 200 pages on how to basically build a dirty bomb and like take it into a building, and like where to place it and how to. I was like, what?
If you download that now, you legitimately end up on a watch list.
Yeah, no, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Guys, a lot of people asking, why are you still using Skype? I've been getting text messages, and not text, but Facebooks and whatnot. Tweets. Those are tweets, that's right. Asking, why are you guys using Skype after what happened last week? To be honest with you, Jerry and I talked about this earlier, and he's kind of left it to me to decide what we're going to use. And I wanted to see if we got the DDoS stuff squared away, because I assumed the kid would have come back.
Yeah, we didn't get DDoSed. And this is one of the largest viewing audiences we've had yet, so I guarantee the DDoSer was trying like hell.
Probably. So
yeah, no, I'd have to imagine. I mean, if you're so hard up to DDoS somebody for an entire show, you're basically watching every single thing they did. So
yeah,
you failed, DDoSer.
This week anyway. I'm sure they're gonna try and keep us on our toes, but hey, they can sure as hell
fail
try.
Boat.
Well, guys, my co-host Barnacles. As always, it's been great. Thanks for coming, guys. If you came and stuck around after watching Boogie, we appreciate it. If you are new here, check out Jerry's channel. It's Barnacles, and you can go to barnnerd.com, get all of his stuff there. You're already here on my channel, and as always, we'll see you in the next one. Let's go ahead and roll that outro, and we will see you guys in our next videos and next Thursday.
Take it easy.